time for the Daily Planet podcast show. So sit back, relax, and give us a go. Scott and Matt and maybe a guest have undertaken an epic pod quest. We're gonna ramble on about movies and books and television and directors and film festivals and this really long list of stuff that I know nothing about, but they gave it to me and they really wanted me to read through it. And that's all I can really say about it, but it's gonna be great. Okay, start the show.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Planet
podcast.
You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
You can't interrupt.
I can do whatever I want now. I can't.
We are here.
You're going to regret this.
I already do. This is our weekly podcast. We're here to talk about movies, TV, books, and anything else we feel like talking about. I am your host, Scott Daly, and if you haven't already noticed, I am joined by a very special guest this week.
He has to say that.
Do I?
Yeah.
It's my wife. It's my wife, Elyse Daly. Elyse, you are much talked about, but never featured on the podcast.
Am I really talked about
I don't know,
a lot?
You wouldn't know because you don't listen to the podcast.
Yes, I do.
So you wouldn't know if I talk about you.
Haven't in a while.
Yeah.
But, it's okay.
Yeah, we had some last-minute scheduling snafus, so my wife was...
I'm Plan Z. I was like the one that you didn't really ever want to have on, but then you were like, well...
What's less
No one else is here.
What's less than Plan Z?
She saw the movies with me.
That's true.
So I guess she can do it.
And what movie are we here to talk about this week, Elyse?
It's a disaster.
We are here.
But you know what? Some might call it pure art. I think it would be called...
we're here to talk about...
The Room.
No, the name of the movie is The Disaster Artist.
I know.
The name of the movie is Disaster Artist, James Franco's new film about The Room, the worst movie made ever. I don't know who declared that, but it has been declared. We're here to talk all about The Disaster Artist, and as usual, we're going to do our spoiler-free talk about it, and then we'll probably move into spoilers.
I might spoil
after that. No, you can't until we move into spoiler-free section. There are rules. But first, Elyse, we got some news items to talk about.
I'm so excited.
You are not bringing any news to this table.
I'm a daily, so it's whatever I want to talk about. And I might have something else I want to talk about.
We sat down to talk about news, and I immediately pulled all the movie news that I do. And then Elyse started talking about people getting married and children and things that no one out there in the world cares about at all.
Women care about. Like, for example... I know that everyone loves The Bachelor, and Wells, Adams, and Sarah Hyland from a TV show, which ties into your thing, both actually TV shows, they're together now, and they just got their first Christmas tree.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, Sarah Hyland, the oldest daughter in the Modern Family.
Oh, weird.
Sitcom. Yeah, she's dating Wells Adams, the bartender from Bachelor Pad, or not Bachelor Pad anymore, Bachelor Paradise.
No one...
See, everyone's gonna... You comment. You should all care.
Elyse.
It's true love. It's like us.
Hey,
true love.
Did you know that Quentin Tarantino wants to make a Star Trek movie?
Yeah, I told you that I knew that news.
Okay.
Already at dinner.
At dinner?
Yeah, I remember I walked in and I was like, hey, did you hear Quentin Tarantino wants to make a Star Trek thing? And you were like, actually, yeah. J.J. Abrams and him are going to have a sit-down, talk it out, and then maybe it'll get made.
What you said was Star Wars, and I had to correct you, because they are not making a Star Wars
But
movie.
I knew it was Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Live long and prosper.
The news is that Quentin Tarantino has an idea for a Star Trek movie that he wants to make.
It's good.
And,
lots of people will die. Lots of blood.
It is going
everywhere.
To be a rated R version of Star Trek, which is interesting. That has never existed before.
Only type that there really should be.
I don't know if people online can detect your sarcasm yet, because they're not used to you. So that was Elyse being sarcastic, because I don't think rated R is a good idea for Star Trek. I don't think Star Trek needs rated R.
If you've never heard it, that was Scott being wrong.
Oh.
So, I've heard that a lot. Maybe you didn't know, but I'm here to let you know that was Scott being wrong.
Well, the other part of this news is that Patrick Stewart wants to reprise his role as Jean-Luc Picard, captain of the Enterprise from Star Trek The Next Generation, which is a series known for peaceful, diplomacy first, war later.
Yeah.
And now we're
the
gonna,
Wolverine's gonna
so
come out.
Doesn't what does that have? That doesn't.
I don't know.
You're
you
mixing
just
your
gotta,
genres.
You gotta kind of integrate everything.
But yeah, so all we know is that he wants to do it. They're trying to break a script, and we're gonna see what happens. I kind of don't think this is gonna happen, and if it does, I don't know how actually involved Quentin Tarantino is going to be with it.
So you know what I want to see Quentin Tarantino make?
What?
A musical.
Interesting.
I think that would be amazing.
I don't know if he wants to do that.
I think he should.
Okay.
I think, instead of sitting down with JJ, it should be Quentin and myself, and we'll just hash it all out. We'll make a really good musical.
Okay. Well, he said 10 movies.
Which reminds me.
10 movies and he's done.
Really quick. My other idea for a TV show, which I'm sharing to the world right now, bringing shows together, 24 and The Bachelor. Every hour they get rid of one person.
What? I
don't know. I just thought I'd share it. I think it's a really good idea for a show. So if you want to do it, you can contact me.
What does The Bachelor have to do with counterterrorism?
You know that some of those women are,
I just
probably
this is
sleeper
the first time
agents.
you've been on my podcast and you've brought up The Bachelor twice.
It's because it's your most popular thing that you've ever done.
That's not true.
People.
That's not true.
It was. It's actually what brought us together. So.
News item number 2. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, that Disney and Fox were in talks to sell the 20th Century Fox version or brand of the company over to Disney. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, but the talks were dead, not happening. It was just a rumor. They're back. They're back on. And
it's that rumor mill.
An announcement of a sale could happen as early as next week.
Wow, what a good Christmas present that would be.
No, it wouldn't. We talked about this last week about how I think that's bad for the industry.
Well, you know what? Why not just have one company to rule them all?
I think you just proved my point. Exactly.
Why?
That's a bad idea.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. It's
especially
a bad
when
idea.
It's Disney. Just think about all they could do. I don't really care.
That's great. It makes great news.
So, bringing up, next important news item is, all these fires that are in LA, Did you know that Ellen and Portia had to evacuate their dogs?
Oh my God.
I know.
I don't.
All of these celebrities, do you know the things that they're taking first? They're animals. Do you know why? Because they want to surround themselves with the things that love them. So they have to take their pets. I'm not making this up. Lea Michele took her animal. Now Portia and Ellen. It's all about the animals with these people.
I don't pet owner saves pet from fire is not news.
All of these people are saving animals. They're not saving other people.
What
I guess there's not really
save?
people there, and they're evacuating hopefully. But they really love the animals in LA.
I think generally we love animals.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere.
There's a man that just went into the fire to save a bunny that was trying to hop into the fire.
I saw that.
And he risked his life for a wild bunny.
I saw that.
I know. It was moving.
He's a hero.
I know.
Last news item.
You think?
Jurassic World 2. The trailer came out this week.
Oh, yeah, it did.
I wasn't a big fan of the first movie. Were you?
Are you talking about the very, very first?
No,
or are you talking about
Jurassic
the Chris
World?
Pratt? Oh, yeah. Well, it was my Saturday morning laundry movie type
that's
thing.
That
if a movie's bad, I can watch it on Saturday morning while doing laundry.
She didn't like Jurassic World.
I want to like it. I like Chris Pratt. But, I also feel like he's getting a little bit too big in the head now. And so he's like, everything I do is wonderful.
What are you getting this from?
I'm very perceptive. And I really have a good read on people. Trailer? I guess so. Go ahead.
What'd you think of it?
I didn't watch it.
I told you to.
No, you talked about it with me, and then I was like, there's a volcano on the island, and you're going back to the island's going to have a volcano to try and save the dinosaurs. It all circles back. LA, the fires, it's just their mentality. They have to go and save the animal. And you know what?
I hate that you just circled that around. I really hate that just happened.
Well, you know, sometimes, really, most times, things work in my favor. So,
well,
and that's called marriage.
I think the trailer was bad. I think it looked boring and unexciting. I think the animals are continuing to not behave like animals and are instead continuing
They're
to behave.
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're animals, but it's like we've evolved so much since then.
My point is that they behave like monsters in a monster movie, not like actual animals. In Jurassic Park, the animals behave like animals. They did animal things. In Jurassic World, they are monster movie monsters. And I guess if that's what you want out of a movie, that's fine. But I was hoping for dinosaur movie, not a monster movie.
Well, now you're going to get a volcano movie.
Yeah. I can't believe that's the plot. A volcano is erupting, and we've got to go back to save our baby dinosaur. Stupid.
Which, you know, we talked about. If our pets, we love our pets dearly. They're wonderful dogs. But if our dogs were on an island and they were going to have some sort of natural disaster happen to them, would we go to the island? No. You know, we love them. They're great. We had some time with them. I think we would have already had an emotional, like, episode of, for some reason, our animals, we had to leave them on the island, and so we would have already dealt with that.
Yeah.
So why go back?
Probably, if I had to guess, I'd say we'd probably already have replacements at that point.
And you know what? It's definitely, I think, the trailer. You told me it's all because of the woman. So it's going to be the woman's fault. The woman wants to go back.
Are you saying the Jurassic...
I'm saying everyone always blames the girl.
Are you saying the Jurassic World, which starred Bryce Dallas Howard as the main character, and I'm putting that in quotes, was not a progressive woman-forward movie? Remember when she had to take off her high heels? And that was her character moment?
Woo,
that was...
Man.
Yeah.
I did that on the dance floor last night, and I'm telling you, that definitely took a step forward.
I don't understand what that has to do with...
I don't know.
Jurassic.
I just had to take my shoes off.
All right.
They hurt. You know, heels hurt sometimes.
I understand that. All
Make
right.
your calves look good, but...
But let's move into the main event. Let's talk about the disaster artist. And
no Beyonce and Jay-Z?
No.
You don't want to know anything about... Okay,
no,
fine.
I really don't.
We'll save Beyonce and Jay-Z for next time because, guys, you always know Queen Bee's got some stuff going on.
There will never be a next time after this.
I think there will be.
So... Part of the reason I wanted you on here to talk about Disaster Artist, outside of the fact that everyone else fell through.
So
and
this is going to be a disaster of a podcast. Why not just have it? Yeah.
But, like, The Room is a movie that I've seen many times, and it's a movie that has earned cult status, as we said, being the worst movie ever. But it's a movie that you had never seen before. You've never seen The Room. We thought about trying to get you to see The Room before we went and saw Disaster Artist, and then we realized that you had to...
It costs money.
Yeah,
who wants to pay money to see a movie these days?
That's not what I meant. I'm looking at my movie shelf right now.
Yeah, we already bought them. We don't have to pay for it again to watch it. We already own it.
The point is, The Room is not available to stream anywhere. You can only purchase it Blu-ray, and I am not going to own a Blu-ray of The Room.
So I'm going to buy him that for Christmas. Or if any of you want to also send a copy, you know, like, let's just flood his office with copies of The Room. I think that would be very funny.
It's a terrible idea.
And for every copy of The Room we get, I can get rid of one of the movies on this movie shelf, and then we'll just have a movie shelf full of The Room, and then we'll have a room full of The Room.
That's a dumb joke.
I think it'll be fun. I wasn't trying to make a joke. I just think it would be fun.
Stupid. Anyway, so you had never seen The Room,
No.
And so you have the perspective of the disaster artist of having never seen the film that the film is based on.
Yeah.
So I was kind of very interested to get your point of view of this movie, what you liked it, what you didn't. Did it make you want to see The Room? Talk to me about your experience with Disaster Artist. The Disaster Artist.
The Disaster Artist. Well, I mean, I liked the movie. That's just because I really like James Franco, though.
Okay.
Like, I think he's funny.
Is that
and
it?
So I'll go see almost anything that he's in. But, I mean, I found the story of the whole, like, process behind how the movie got made fascinating. I think Tommy is just a very interesting character.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah. I mean, he's just fascinating. I just keep watching those interviews and I'm like, golly, he's like real, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not fake, or maybe it is fake and he's just like finally realized what his shtick should be. And you know, like some people finally find their shtick. I think he's just really mental. You know, I think that there's something wrong when they said there was the car crash, and I don't know if the car crash was real, but if he really did have a car crash, I think that there was some brain damage.
That's really cruel.
I
You're
mean,
talking about a human,
I think that honestly, there really like could have been some sort of damage, and so I don't know. This is the result. We get The Room, but because we had The Room, we now have The Disaster Artist, and I really did like that movie, and so I found it fascinating. Do I really want to go watch The Room?
I feel like the movie shows you all the best parts.
And I feel like if I were to go see it, I wouldn't necessarily want to see it at home. I would want to go to one of the events where it's like, okay, well, there's like some hype behind it. It'll be a fun experience because it's the experience and not the movie.
Right.
Because you're not going to enjoy the movie.
And I think that's why The Room became what it was. Is the midnight screenings. It's called our generation's Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is really insulting to Rocky Horror Picture Show because that's a much better movie than The Room is. But I mean, talking as a person who has an entire weekly podcast where I watch bad movies, I have just never been into the so bad it's good type of thing. I've never really been into The Room. I've never seen it in one of those screenings. I've only watched it at home with friends a couple times, and you know, like it's funny.
Well, and that's the thing, though, is like there's a movie to where it's like it legitimately is so bad it is not good.
Yeah.
And I honestly have not seen The Room, so I don't know if that falls into the category of it is so bad it is not good. Like there's no reason you should even do it. And then there's the like, it's so weird, it's so bad. Yes, it is enjoyable. It's good. Bubble Boy.
Okay.
Exhibit A.
No. But
I'm not going to yell $500 in the mic because you get really upset at me.
You will blow
You'd be
up the
so
mic
mad.
and you will break the mic.
I won't do it.
But
maybe later.
The thing about The Room, it's yes, it's bad. Yes, it's funny. But like, it's also, to me, sitting down to watch an hour and a half of this thing is painful. Like even if there are parts in the thing that are really funny to watch, you can watch that in YouTube clips. You can watch a 5-minute YouTube clip that gives you every single funny moment in The Room, and then you don't have to sit through the whole damn movie. And I get the midnight showing aspect of it. I get that. But what I wanted to see in The Disaster Artist that I don't think we got is really an explanation of why is this movie so special. And this James Franco has based this off of the book of the same name, which is written by Greg Sestero, who is Tommy Wiseau's partner and friend for many years. That built this movie with him. He wrote a book all about the process of this movie. And the scriptwriter said that when they were trying to break this down into a movie, what they found is that the core of the story is this friendship between these two guys. So that's kind of what the movie hinges on, is this friendship between Greg and Tommy and how they met and came together and then created this thing that it's art. You got to call it art. And the significance and the importance of that. And my biggest issue with it is I don't know what the Disaster Artist wants us to think. I don't know what it wants us to say, because on the one hand, it is having a lot of fun laughing at how weird and kooky Tommy Wiseau is and how weird his accent is. On the other hand, it's trying to tell us that he is this misunderstood artist who is just in love with his craft and like it was just so passionate about making this thing that he just had to do it no matter what, no matter the money, no matter what anyone else told him to do, he had to do it. And he created this weird thing that has never existed anywhere else before. And I feel like the movie kind of wants to have its cake and eat it too in that. It wants us to laugh at all the funny stuff, but also take it very seriously. And I didn't feel those two sides come together in any kind of like cohesive message by the end of the film.
I don't know if, and I know that we've talked about this before, but the movie was necessarily as much for us to understand in that as it was like, again, the reason that I love going to see this type of movie is because I love James Franco. And I think that he's hilarious. And I think he's hilarious, but he's also one of the like most intelligent yet underrated people. And I think the movie is more of a study for him and his growth as a director and actor. And so the things that he does post this, I think will be very interesting to see, because the whole process of like him making the movie and who he chose in order to be specific parts, like his best friend in the movie, you know, is his brother. And there's a reason he chose his brother to do that, you know? And so
Dave Franco plays Greg Sestero. Yeah.
So I think that probably he had a lot of the same questions, like, why is this movie The Room? Like, what makes this so great? You know, and all of those things that you're wondering, he's wondering, and this is his way to study it. Yeah. And he's becoming Tommy, and he has the appreciation for him. And so, like, after this, the things that he does that are original, I think, will be potentially different or just have a completely different perspective. And I think that'll be very fascinating to see.
I think you're right. And I think my problem is that I don't think it lands. Like, if this is supposed to be James Franco discovering who this person is and why he is the way he is, I don't think he's figured it out by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I do agree that, like, one of the things I read that I thought was very fitting is that you have these two people, James Franco, Tommy Wiseau. Tommy Wiseau wants to be James Franco. The type of person he wants to be the big Hollywood leading man, the good-looking leading man, the James Dean type guy. And he's just not. That's not who he is. It's with his accent and his looks and his age. That's just not who he is. James Franco wants to be Tommy Wiseau. He wants to be this weird guy that makes nonsense movies and is really into his art, and only he can understand his art and all this other stuff. So, like, he latched onto this character because that's who he wanted to be, and Wiseau let it happen because James Franco playing him is, like, exactly what he wants. And it's this weird kind of mix of these two worlds. And I think that part's fascinating, but I just feel that the movie itself, like, it felt weird to me to be laughing at this character who is a real person who is alive, who talks like that and thinks like that. And it's one thing to laugh at The Room about, like, hey, that cut made no sense and your acting performance in this is really bad, and it's just your every decision you made in this movie you've made is really bad. But to have a movie that constructs a story around the real life person, and this is how he talks in real life, and this is what he says in real life, and this is, and the point of the movie seems to be, isn't he weird? Let's laugh at him. I don't know. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. There's a scene in the film where Tommy Wiseau is in an acting class, and he's trying to be a leading man, and I think he reads a sonnet, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm reading a sonnet, like Shakespeare," because Tommy Wiseau says he loves Shakespeare. I don't know if he understands Shakespeare, but he thinks it's big and important.
Does anyone understand? I'm just kidding.
Okay, yeah. And they say to him, it's like, no, you're not the hero, you're the villain. And Tommy Wiseau, as played by James Franco, said, no, like, I'm the hero, you're all laughing at me, you're the villains. And that's the movie making a very declarative statement that the people laughing at Tommy are villains. And then it's inviting you to laugh at him. And that is just something that I have a lot of trouble reckoning with.
Yeah.
That's it?
No, sorry. Sometimes I like think about thinking while I'm listening too. But, you know, obviously in order for the movie to get made, Tommy had to have given permission.
Right.
And so he like knows what's happening. And I think I just go back to it. Like the purpose of the room was for Tommy. It was not for us as an audience to get. It was his expression. The purpose of the disaster artist is not for us to get. The reason that we go is because we want to see the impression. And I think that normal people, when you just watch impressions, like when you watch Saturday Night Live, when you watch any sort of like late night comedy or whatnot, and people are making impressions of others, we find that comical. And so that was the draw to get people in. And they're like the confusion behind, should we laugh? Should we not laugh? It's really just, we're laughing at an impression. We're not necessarily laughing at Tommy. I think if you were to watch him in the interviews, like you think that the things that he does are strange and you do laugh, but I don't know. I think
we've been laughing at Tommy since he made this movie. I think he made this movie. The Room is what a lot of people suspect is it's a very autobiographical movie, that it's a movie about Tommy and about his friendship with Greg and about the world who has betrayed him. It's a very, very misogynistic movie. Tommy has an interesting thing with women. All women are going to betray him. Everyone's going to betray him, but women specifically are evil and traitors, and they do not respect him and love him the way that they should. And it's this intensely personal thing that I think he tried to make, and it's bad. It's not good. And then people laughed at it. And instead of, I guess it's commendable that instead of allowing that to destroy him, he turned into the skid and made it seem like that was the point of the movie all the time, that it was always supposed to be a black comedy, which I don't think it was.
No.
And so we've been laughing at Tommy for a decade. And now this movie comes out with the intent, I think one of Franco's intents is to humanize this character, to show who this person is. And I think it tries to do that. And I think there are moments where you really feel for this character. But then at the end of the day, we're still laughing at him. Like when Franco goes through the motions of recreating, I think he recreated 20 minutes of this movie. And they didn't use it all, but a lot of it's in there, especially as we roll credits, we see side by side the two different movies. The intent seems to be, this is weird, isn't it funny? And like, I don't know. I wrestle with it. I thought it was a very funny movie. I laughed along with it. And then I left the theater feeling bad about that. That I laughed at this human being who, I mean, he's made money off of it, so I guess it's fine. Like, he's turned into it, but I don't know. I wanted to know, I wanted, I guess, to be challenged a little bit about that. Like, I wanted to feel like the movie's telling me I specifically shouldn't be laughing at him. But the end of the movie seems to be is like, no, look, people are laughing at you. That means you're making people happy. That means you're doing something, even if it's not the thing that you intended. So the message is, yes, all these people have been laughing at this weird, kooky guy for the last decade, and will continue to laugh at this weird, kooky guy, but it's okay because he's made them happy. And I don't know, I guess. I just feel bad for
he's made them happy. And he's happy. He's got what he wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think a lot of the times the things that you want, you get in not necessarily the fashion that you thought you were going to.
The old monkey's paw.
You know, and so if you get laughed at a little bit along the way and you come out through it and you're stronger and then you attain what you want, is that bad?
Yeah, I think that's
yes,
fair.
It's bad, or
no, I'm agreeing with you. I think that's a fair way to look at it, and maybe the truth is that I'm just being too critical of something that stop it. That I am wrestling with my feelings on this whole thing, this whole operation, and I should just be saying, hey, the movie's pretty good. The movie is funny. It's well done. It's well performed. I think as much as we've been like discussing whether it's okay to laugh at Tommy or not, Franco's impression of Tommy is pretty spot on. It's pretty great. Dave Franco's performance is very good. He plays Greg in a way that, like, he's your protagonist. He's your window into this world. And so he plays this guy where you kind of get to a point where you understand. Like, I guess one of the big questions of this whole thing was, if Greg is the normal guy, if Greg is just the straight man to Tommy's weird guy, why didn't he leave this thing as it got more and more ridiculous? Why didn't he walk away? He had chances to walk away. The movie specifically shows us where opportunities came up that he did not take. And it's something about his friendship with this guy, that the loyalty he felt to this guy, the way that Tommy helped Greg out in the beginning of their careers, and the loyalty he felt to him kept him around. And I guess there's something to be said to that.
I kind of wonder, though, like, was it really friendship, or was it more of just, I owe you this?
Guilt.
And it's,
that's what I think the movie's trying to explore, which of that it is. Yeah.
And I think it, at least from my impression and what I picked up just through the movie, it was more of guilt than it was anything else. And, I mean...
But he's still hanging out with them. They're making new movies.
Well, he's hanging out with him now because look what he did for him.
Yeah, that's...
and is that really him doing that because they're friends, or is this, I'm going to jump on the train, choo-choo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I think that is another question that the movie... I guess the movie's opinion comes down the side of that it was guilt that led into friendship, that they were friends at first, and then he kind of started pulling away from him, and he guilted him back into it, but what sustained them is friendship. But I think you're right. I think there's a thing... Greg Sestero's career is built around the fact that he is Tommy's normal friend, and he goes with him to all these midnight premieres, and they're writing new projects together, and he let's be honest here, the guy is not the best actor in the world. He's like even in the room, you can see that he's a pretty mediocre actor, but he's built this career around his attachment to this guy. And I mean, that's smart capitalism, but does that make him a good friend, or does that make him an opportunist who saw something and jumped on it?
I guess only he will know.
Yeah.
His true intentions.
I think, like anything in this world, it's probably a little of both.
Probably so.
A little of both. So I don't know, we kind of just went into spoilers there. I don't think we ever...
Spoilers! I told you I'd do it.
We will just...
Spoil away. Man, I did
did
it. Sorry if that was loud, guys.
So there's this magical thing called editing where we'll just shrink that down. So I think we'll put a spoiler notification at the top of this thing, so no one did that. But I
mean, they have to know the story of The Room. They should know, like, even if you don't know the story of The Room, like me, you know that it's... Yeah,
it's
like, is there really anything to spoil?
This is not a movie that's very heavily spoilered, because it's based on a true story. There's no twists and turns in this movie. It's just kind of...
Except when Tommy dies.
That didn't happen. But it's just, here's
except
these two
when
guys.
Lisa dies.
Lisa doesn't die. Johnny dies.
Except when Johnny dies.
But that's in The Room.
In The Room.
Why was it called The Room?
Except when Nathan For You dies.
What does that have to...
Or when Zac Efron shoots Josh Hutcherson.
Okay, you're just listing actors that appeared in the movie.
I know. I loved it.
So, and his name is Nathan Fielder. His name is not Nathan For You.
Yeah, it's Nathan For You. Four is his middle name.
Oh, okay.
You, last name.
So that's The Room. That's The Room. I don't know.
No, it's the disaster artist. That's what we were talking about. The disaster artist.
I'm interested. Like, I think there was a lot of Oscar buzz around this thing earlier in the year. I don't know where that's going to be now. I think it's going to be a pretty stacked Oscars. So, but I think this movie's going to do pretty well.
I hope James Franco gets nominated for something out of all of the things that he was.
I don't think you got to worry about James Franco in his career. I think he's doing fine.
I know. I just he's such an intriguing person that no one takes seriously. And I think because he does all of those comedies, it's like, haha, it's just another James Franco movie, and then you have this, and it is, another...
he's done other weird
the As I
projects,
Lay Dying.
too. Yeah,
William
he's done Faulkner
thing,
movies.
but that, like, did never, I feel like, hit.
Well, no, those movies are never going to hit. But he's going to keep doing them.
James Franco.
The
Tommy of our generation.
James Franco.
I do.
It's really kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Why?
Like, she's obsessed
because I'm married to you,
with James
but
Franco.
I like James Franco.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for The Disaster Artist. It is playing in theaters right now. I think it's wide now. I think it's in theaters across the country right now.
Be sure you buy tickets to the correct theater and you don't mess that up like I did.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. Maybe that's why we didn't like it, because I had to sit in the first row. Because someone messed up the tickets. All right, that's A Disaster Artist. Let's move on and let's talk about what we've been watching. Elyse, have you been watching something without me? Without you? Well, I mean, I don't want you to steal mine. So, what have you been watching? I watch a lot of stuff. Okay, name one. What's one thing you watched? Well, we've been watching The Crown lately. The Crown. Yeah, that started back up. It did. The Netflix original series The Crown about the Queen of England. Yeah. And we've watched 2 episodes. We have watched 2. We're on 3. According to IMDb, episodes 4, 5, and 6 are the best so far, at least the top rating. You know, they're in the solid 9s. So we'll let you know how that goes. I didn't realize you paid attention to IMDb ratings. IMDb is like my bestie. Yeah, one of the things Elyse does is every time we get home from the theater, the first, like usually in the car ride home from the theater, the first thing she does is go to IMDb and look up all the trivia facts. And then she reads them to me as if she just discovered this. Only if they're interesting. If they're not interesting, I won't waste your time. Anyway, so you like season 2 of The Crown so far? Yeah, so far it's pretty good. Yeah, I like it too. I like the whole history part of the royal family. Like, I love the royal family, and that's we know. No, they don't know. Hey, everyone. I like the royal family. I've definitely been following Meghan Markle, Harry, little section on the news. They're getting married in March. The royal jewelers are not allowed to recreate the ring. So there will be no knockoffs being sold anywhere. Meghan's the only one that's going to have that. And I could give you a whole lot more about all of it. You are a traitor to your country. Stop. We rebelled from that country. Stop worshiping no taxation royalty. Without representation. Exactly. Yeah. So, no, I've been watching The Crown. I watch Good Behavior without you, but you really don't like that show. And I really don't know if I like it either. It's just like... I think you are ruled by what actors and actresses are in the show. I know. If it has an actor... If Disaster Artist did not have James Franco, I think not only would it have not been as good of a movie, but I don't think you would have wanted to see it. No, I probably wouldn't have. Yeah. So who's in Good Behavior? What is the show? Michelle Dockery's in it. Who's that? So she was in Downton Abbey. Okay. And she's in Godless. Mary. Yeah, she was in Godless. Which we talked about last week. Yeah. Yeah. She was totally different in Godless than she was in Downton. Whoa. And so, I like Good Behavior. I like her. Her love interest is pretty catchy, too. Oh my God. So, that's really the only reason I watch it. The acting is horrible. The kid is, like, real bad. What channel does that appear on? It's kind of my fall asleep show. It's on TNT. They know drama. Yeah. They do. They do know drama. Is that their slogan? Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I think that's right. Okay, that's Good Behavior on TNT. Yeah. If you need a fall asleep show, it's a pretty good one. What else have I been watching? I have been watching The Shape of Water, which is the new Guillermo del Toro movie. We're watching The Shape of Water. But don't act like it was just you. But that was mine. So you were like, what have you been watching without me? So I told you what I watch and you don't. And now you're taking something that both of us did. I don't watch anything without you, because I am a good husband. No, you do. No. Yeah, you watch John Oliver without me on the weekend. You fall asleep. And I like John Oliver, and I never get to watch it because you always play it after I am asleep. And you know why I'm asleep? Guys, it's because he records this podcast late at night. And you know what? Tonight, I would get to watch John Oliver, except he's not on. I know. He's not on. Okay. Yeah, so what are we We watched Guillermo del Toro's newest film, The Shape of Water.
Mm-hmm.
It is a beautiful fairy tale about the love between a mute woman and a fish monster. I loved this movie. I loved it so much.
It was good.
It is like Guillermo. I am a big fan of Guillermo del Toro. I think Crimson Peak was super underrated. That movie never really caught on. But I thought that was a beautiful...
Even with Hiddleston.
Yeah, even with Hiddleston.
You know, you would have thought Hiddleston would have done a lot.
Once again, you go back to the actors.
You know,
that's all you care about.
I love the actors.
But it's a beautifully shot movie. I mean, his I forget who his DP was on this movie, but it's like beautiful, like the teals and
on Crimson Peak or this one.
This one.
I think this is his cinematographer. He's done 3 other ones with. That was the trivia.
That's what a director of photography is.
Oh, so he's actually worked on this film with, or not this film, but he's worked on with 3 other movies. And if you'd like, it's on IMDb trivia.
Sure, yeah. So while Elyse is looking that up very quickly,
I think I'll find it. The
movie has this seawater like tone throughout it that's just beautiful. Like there are some stills and like some of the setups and the shots that are just absolutely beautiful. I think the performances are really great. Sally Hawkins has to play this mute woman who doesn't say a word the entire time and has to convey so much emotion through just either sign languaging or just through her looks. Has to convey love, falling in love with this fish monster who also doesn't speak. So all that has to be done through visual language, and it succeeds in that. I think this is a very touching, beautiful story. I think Guillermo del Toro continues to tap into this weird, kind of otherworldly fairy tale type thing that just like it seems like it's designed to make me happy because I think it's. Go ahead.
I found it. According to IMDb trivia, this is the 3rd collaboration between cinematographer Dan Laustsen and Guillermo del Toro.
What are the other 2?
They previously worked on Mimic and Crimson Peak.
There you go. That's why I thought Crimson Peak was beautiful.
11 out of 45 people found this interesting.
That's not very many.
I think with us, we can add at least 13 because you found this. That's 2 more.
There you go.
But I didn't really find it interesting the first time around. Now I will.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so like Crimson Peak, it's a very beautiful movie. That had lots of red tones in it. This has a lot of blue and greenish teal tones in it. But you saw
she changed to red.
Yeah,
yeah.
Don't spoil the entire movie for the people.
I just like the colors.
But it's great.
It's colors.
I'm in the middle of compiling my top 10 movies of the year. It's getting near the end of the year. I've still got a few more movies I got to watch, but it's going to be a tough year because there's a lot of good movies, and I think this one is really up there. The Shape of Water. It's very good. Give it a shot. I think it's out wide because we saw it in an AMC, so it's in an AMC. I'm assuming it's everywhere. But that is The Shape of Water.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was.
It was beautiful.
It was very beautiful. And I think...
What do you think?
I think that's all we got for this week. I think it's going to be a pretty short episode this week.
You know, there's that one thing with Beyonce and Jay-Z.
We're not going to talk about that. That's all we have for you guys this week. If you have any questions or comments or...
if you'd like to send a copy of The Room...
Do not do that. Anything else, let me know. And you can reach out to us on email at dailyplanetfilms@gmail.com or on Twitter at dailyplanetfilms. That's DALY.
You ain't got no alibi. You Daly. Hey, you Daly.
Now we're going to get like trademarked for that or something. If you want to just send an email to us and let us know just how
wonderful we are.
How terrible Elyse was throughout this entire experience, just feel free.
I am the disaster artist.
If you were not already subscribed to this podcast, we really encourage you to do so and make sure you never miss an episode. You can find this basically everywhere else podcasts are found: iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, everywhere. It's everywhere you can find podcasts. You can subscribe to it. We really encourage you to do that. Also, if you listen on iTunes, we really encourage you guys to go on there and rate and review us on iTunes. You can give me 5 stars and Elyse
10.
Half a star.
10 stars.
Doesn't go
10
that high.
gold stars, please. I love stars.
But those rating and reviews really help us get exposure and have more people find the podcast. And lastly, next week on the podcast, no more Elyse. Definitely not any more Elyse. But
I'm so wonderful.
It is Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh my gosh, so I definitely have to be back.
Why?
Because the only reason you're seeing the Star Wars movie is because I want to go see it.
That's not true.
Because you didn't even like the other one before.
I did not.
And so why else would you go see it unless I wanted you to go see it?
Because I am a
Because
critic.
you love me.
Oh,
that's why.
Okay. So next week on the podcast, we're going to be reviewing Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yes, we are.
We, meaning the royal we. The royal we.
We are. Scott and Elyse Daly.
Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
I am
sorry.
The podcast
I am
now.
so sorry for the weirdness of this episode.
It's not weird.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have no idea. But regardless, we will see you next week.
We will.
Podcast is over, it's done. We hope you all had some fun. Go back to your work or your school, maybe the gym. Hey, that's cool. Regardless, just go away. But please come back next